Hi, and welcome to another Fig and Me video. As some of you know, this month is very important for me as it is the month I was born, the month I became a mother, and the month I became a doll maker. For me, it is a month full of meaning, spirituality, and utter gratefulness. 13 years ago, I became a doll maker. I didn't know it at the time. I naively thought I was just making a doll for my daughter's 3rd birthday. I was not even remotely aware that grabbing those needles and fabrics, that stuffing, would become such an intrinsic activity in my life for the following 13 years. 13 is such a sacred number, 13 moons in a woman's year. It is not my favorite number, but I do have a lot of respect for it. So I wanted to do something special this year to commemorate 13 years of Fig and Me. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey and some of the things I've learned in the spirit of creative adventure. When I started making dolls, I felt very enthralled at discovering something I couldn't get enough of. It was like I discovered I had a secret power, not because I was skilled in doll making, but because I was so in love with it. My superpower was that desire, that need to turn wool and fabric into dolls. Every nap of my kids, every trip to the park, every movie at home, I would try to sneak away a little something, a few stitches on this jacket, a few embroideries here or there. I made dolls at night, once my children were in bed. I would stay up until 3 or 4 in the morning, imbibing every magical moment of creation, getting to feel the wool, seeing it being shaped into dolls. It is a process that still fills me with awe and wonder, now 13 years later. I didn't have a guiding hand. I didn't know how to sew very well, or make dolls, or hair, or clothes, or knit, or take photographs. All I knew was that I wanted to keep making dolls, and each doll made and sold helped buy supplies for the next one, and over and over. It wasn't a real full-fledged business, it was just a means to an end, to make dolls. Now, many years later, I do recommend that if you're starting to feel the need to turn your doll making into a business, that you pause a little bit and put some thought into it. Don't start all gung-ho like I did. But don't let the thinking paralyze you, trying to anticipate every single thing and make it perfect. You have to start somewhere, and believe me, whether you believe you're ready or not is not the deal breaker. You will make mistakes and issues will arise, but you will learn so much along the way. It is lots of fun to make dolls and find them homes. For one, it allows you to have movement in your life, a constant change. You put yourself into a rhythm of making, photographing, selling, packing, and starting all over again. With each new doll, you get to sit down, slow down, think about your life, put your best effort into her or his creation, and you end up with so much satisfaction. Though my work is very hard, I'm not trying to sell you a very polished picture over here. I wouldn't change it for anything else. I am truly grateful for every single year I have managed to stay atop the wool and the needles, writing and documenting, selling and teaching. I don't shy away from hard things. I take them one bite at a time, and I recommend you to do the same. Because if you feel like a doll maker is burning inside you, there's just no other way. You simply must make dolls. When I started making dolls, it was a time of no Pinterest or Instagram. What little information I could find online was like precious gold to me. I cherished every hour making dolls because I would discover something new. Try a new thing, learn a new type of knitting stitch, figure out how to make a seam, stuff a leg just a little bit better. I was discovering new territories and finding a deep nurturing in return. I do not know if all doll makers feel the same way, but when I make dolls, it's like I'm being held. Something inside me is released and my heart expands. I breathe deeper and I dream so much. Back then, my children were so young and they inspired my hands directly. I made simple outfits that I knew hands like theirs could manipulate. I understuffed my dolls, mainly for lack of knowledge and experience, but also because I could see my children like those dolls better. Ours back then was a world of gnomes and fairies, play food and story time. So obviously my dolls reflected that. As my children have now grown, so have my dolls, and luckily my skills as a doll maker too. Many of the challenges I have taken as a doll maker have been directly inspired or from direct suggestions of my children. The smallest doll, Thumbelina, the Figlet, the first weighted baby doll, the mannequin, Poet and the Petite Figs, and playing with articulation and doll movement through Yuki. Being a doll maker has allowed me to dive into a fluffy world where I've met such wonderful people. I've met so many talented doll makers, and some of them have become very good friends. Their work has challenged and inspired me. I could see a brighter path ahead of me because they showed me through their dolls and quality what was actually possible. Something I could aspire to. Their storytelling fueled my own stories. Their ethics pushed mine. No artist creates in isolation, they say. When I began making dolls, I did not consider myself an artist. I was just making dolls for little kids to play with. I wanted to create something wholesome, handmade, with natural materials, something safe and made with heart. That was my only intention. A few years down the road, I started to consider myself a true doll maker. It was a scary thought, because to say that out loud meant that I had to put more intention behind my work. I had a responsibility to the craft and to the name. When people called me that, I would correct them and say, no, I am not a real doll maker. I am just learning. To me, it felt like such an honor that I couldn't possibly accept it just yet. To me, being a doll maker is a very important job. It's a huge obligation. You're calling yourself the vessel of many energies, and you're translating those into dolls, and dolls are more than toys. They can be merely toys, but they can also be so much more. You are creating these little vessels for imagination, to inspire playfulness in others, to bring them light or laughter on a messy day. If your work is meant for the hands of a child, that is a huge responsibility. Your work will be part of their childhood memories. You're literally shaping a very important part of their lives, giving them something to focus their energy onto. If your work is meant for an adult, it is equally important as well. Adults need desperately to feel emotionally safe. Adults need to be kinder and understanding. They need to feel what is their true core, connect with it, and stand by it. I believe dolls can help them get there because they allow you to soften up and remember the joys of your childhood, a simpler time. When you connect with that energy, other things become more clear to you. When you choose doll making, you choose it as the medium to express your sacred creativity. I believe creativity is a sacred energy, as it mirrors the energy of the earth. It certainly connects you very deeply to your path through this life and to your life on our planet. Becoming a doll maker deepened the way I saw the world, what I aspired to, how I raised my children. It allowed me to merge both work and life in ways I never thought possible. Over the years, I've struggled to be consistent in my methods and intentions because nothing ever stays the same. I change a lot from year to year. It involves a lot of questioning and a lot of soul searching. It involves accepting that these things change. It's a constant letting go letting go of things that no longer serve you, of antiquated methods, of fabrics that no longer make your hands move with ease, of dolls that you absolutely adore and can't quite fathom there's anyone out there who would love them more than you. That's how I started to consider myself an artist. It is a very weird thing to say, to call yourself an artist. It adds a level of complexity to being a doll maker. I am not saying one is better than the other. There are just different ways of being. They both imply you do something with intention, constantly. This is your practice. So now, 13 years later, I am here being a doll maker and an artist. A storyteller all my life, I have now devoted 13 years of it to tell you stories through my dolls, each one unique and different from the next, each one a little person willing to tell you something special, to give you back your voice. So while I'm here, I choose to travel with my hands to lands of fabric meadows and woolly mountains, letting my imagination soar through the stories I brew, trying to imbue your life with a little bit more magic. And how do I aspire to do that? Through the documentation of my path as a doll maker. There are literally years of photographs and stories available at your fingertips on my website. The only thing you need is time to dive right in. If you're trying to become a doll maker, I have published many articles, tutorials, and stories to guide you and inspire you, hoping to repair that lack of guidance I had when I started. You can find articles on doll making techniques, pattern design, all the supplies I use and where I buy them, business talk and things I would do different now, as well as photography tips and thousands of photos that document my doll making journey. I put all my love and so much thought into my dolls, hoping that wherever they land, they help you or your children to connect, to have fun, to process hard lessons, to enjoy the simple pleasures of playing with dolls. And as usual, to commemorate one more Fig and Me birthday, our yearly sale is now on. You can find a hefty discount on all my doll making patterns so that you can save some money and instead use it to buy the supplies you will need to start your practice, your own adventure, your knowledge quest. I have learned so much all these years, and the one thing that helps me the most when things get hard is to look back and see the progress I've made. See those dolls looking back at me and saying, "Remember back when you worked on my dress?" It always brings a smile, and then I work more peacefully. Until next time, thank you for visiting Fig and Me and for all your lovely comments. I will see you all very soon.